welcome to the Mom series, The Misunderstanding of Multiplicity. This channel is about multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, what was once called MPD and is now called DID, and media, how the media portrays MPD and DID. All kinds of media, TV shows, films, books, interviews, docudramas, radio, how it's perceived in lyrics to music, in every aspect of it. I tend to look at and look at how is that making it worse, how is it making it better, how is it continuing with the misconceptions, the controversy, the myths that continue shrouded around multiplicity, that add to stigma that's not needed. Not needed. Boy, we've got a label for everything. I've been saying this for years. We've got a label for everything, and I kind of really had to get away from all of that. I was like, oh God, there's a label for everything. There's so many labels. It's just a big pot of alphabet soup out there of disorders, and so many excuses. And I allowed myself to believe that. And I'm not saying that people don't have conditions, experiences that are challenging, that make life hard, that make life at times horrible. But to define yourself as, I have DID, I'm MPD, I'm mentally ill, I'm sorry that so many years that I allowed myself to be labeled, labeling myself, and followed the role of being that labeled person. And it really takes a lot of courage to say this. It's because I know that some that are just being diagnosed DID or going through recovering abuse or trauma will look at this video and say, well, okay, now you're at a different place in your life, and you're doing better. So, but don't you remember when you were doing bad? My family could look at this and say, well, Maria, don't you remember when all your alters weren't agreeing, and you were all doing your own thing, and you were all disordered, and it made havoc for your home and your health and your kids, and you had to have help, and it still does at times make problems. Sure, I remember. Sure I do. It's in front of my face always. It's right there. And that's part of the stigma. But you don't have to stay that way. You really can move on. And the quirks that come up with developing with many and continuing to live with many or more than one, that make sense being there, that are logical to be there, can really be an okay life. It can make sense. It can be logical. It can be healthy. I'm not saying there won't be times of disorder, and so that's what this entire channel has been about. Is I've said before, there have been times of disorder, there have been times of health, and more times of health that people don't understand, and that misunderstanding and fear is what adds to isolation, depression, feeling bad about yourself, hiding, being secretive. All of that comes from the misunderstanding of a experience condition that's going on. So that's what I've been concentrating on. And I know there's a lot of people vlogging now about MPD and DID, so I just kind of been doing my own thing and not coming out here talking as much about every issue regarding DID or MPD. Obviously, when United States of Terra was on, a TV show about a woman with DID, that was a good launching pad to talk about all kinds of situations. But as I said in the last video, I have found an avenue with 3 other people that were diagnosed multiple at different times. One lady was diagnosed in the late 70s. It was confirmed like in 81, 82. And another gal was diagnosed in late 80s, early 90s. It was confirmed. And another gal was diagnosed, it was late 90s, confirmed in 2000. So what we're trying to do, the 3 of us, 4, 3 groups and me, is look at the years and how that changed, and take all the questions and all the content of those years in psychiatry, in sociology, in theology, cultural things that have become more accepted as lifestyles, and progressive, how it's progressed and how it's stayed the same. So the real hardship we've had working to get this kind of film together is splicing the videos into one separately. So we're working really closely and trying to get together in one place and film each other talking about our each situations with the same questions that are commonly misunderstood, thoughts about multiplicity and DID that are commonly misunderstood in therapy, in church, in family relationships, so many things that are misunderstood. And so hopefully, I think what it's going to probably come to is doing some travel and us all getting together to accomplish this, because it's not working on getting our videos together. So I'll bring those to you as this progresses. It's been very interesting. It's taken a lot of time. It's been a lot of work of thinking about what to present and what not to. You know, you kind of got to know what has been kind of overdone out there and will only add to more stigma, and just leave it out. And so that's what we've been brainstorming about, and that's what I've been working on, like I said. And another interesting development, I have a good friend that went to school to be a nurse for, surgical nursing, and landed in outreach, doing a lot of prevention and outreach, education and clinical work for people with HIV and AIDS and STDs and hepatitis, and just working with outreach. And obviously ran into a lot of people with addictions, and then went into that field of substance abuse. And at the bottom of, at the lower level of all of this, root level of so many of the people in the population she worked with, was abuse or trauma in the background, psychological issues, medicating through addiction, medicating emotional problems, depression, anxiety. So she decided to go back to school and pursue psychology degree in not just nursing, but go beyond that to a level that she would be able to take third-party payments, open a clinic, and really get her PA and then doctorate in psychology. And she's been going, I'm going to be talking to her class about DID and fielding some questions, because she's had the advantage of knowing me for 19 years now, and meeting the Mosaic group and seeing how I function, they function individually and us together in times of stress, loss, death, high anxiety, moving. She's had that advantage more than my family has, more than anyone I've ever been really close with. She's probably encountered all of us more than even my therapist has, because if she stops over and the entire group is working on something, then she's talking to all of us at once, and we're all interacting with her, and so it's sort of like back in the years when I was working. My supervisor, I'll never forget, used to say, "I work with all of you all the time. I know I can pick out each one of you without even knowing your names. I know who's doing what." And that's how it is for my friend. And she was telling me that she's learning a lot about DID, and it's amazing to her that they're not approaching it the way they used to with talk therapy. Not at all. They're teaching it with all tools, very respectfully. Everyone that a person comes to therapy with belongs with them. You grew up, you developed together, shared life experiences, and you stay together. And there isn't any of this pulling everybody apart separately, doing separate therapy for each individual person, or having to know all their histories and their background and everything that makes them tick. And if they want to talk, they talk. If they don't, they don't. It's a very whole look at working with a whole group, and just whatever the problem is. If there is a problem, if there isn't, it isn't. And it's a very respectful approach of just introducing a lot of cognitive tools. And I think it's a real good step forward the week being to her. Anyways, so that's what I've been working on, and I just wanted to say hi to y'all and shout outs. And I haven't been out here, but I would be checking into CN3 and Holly Gray. And Holly Gray does a blog at healthy.com and out, and CN3, most of you know. And so many of you are blogging out and being managers on this instead of out so much. But I miss you all, and I just wanted to say hi. I hope you're having a good fall, and I just want to say hey to you all and let you know what I'm doing. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.